All right. For those of you who are joining us, can you still hear me okay? Because it's not as loud
Yeah,
in my headset. All
it
right.
actually may have taken care of it. It sounds good.
All right. I'm going to raise my audio level on my microphone. Find where my audio level, here it is up here. Okay. No, it's still there. And that's not going to work either. Okay. I'm going to put this on.
I'm
There we
stunned. I think it may be in your headphones now because I don't hear it.
No, it's a little bit, but it's good. We're good. All right, everybody ready? This is for the folks who are joining us from LouisvilleAnswers.com. This is our pre-show banter, which not so much pre-show banter, but we're ready to
Banter,
rock and roll.
banter, banter.
Banter, and we'll have a little extra at the end. All right. Do you hear a hum? Lee, is that your fan?
I do have a fan on, but it's not making any noise.
Okay. It was a hum, I hear. Okay. All right. We'll be good. Stand by, guys. Here we go. Putting a timer. I'm hearing that hum.
It's a
I'll turn it
low
off.
level hum, but I think it sounds like an interference or a feedback hum.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know
But
if it's
there is
from.
none. All right.
Yeah, I
All
don't
right, we'll
know.
deal with it. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler and the Louisville Real Estate Show with you. Once again, we are coming from a variety of locations on this Sunday morning. I'm coming from my office on an early Sunday morning. This is Bob Sokoler. You can reach me anytime at 376-5483. We've also got Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, at 645-0736. You're coming from your lake house. Can we say that? I guess we can.
Yes, we can.
Good. Lee Harris, Limestone Counsel. She is phenomenal over there. She's legal counsel for Limestone Title and Escrow, and you can reach her at 649-7964. Good to have you here this morning, Lee.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yep, and my son Greg is here with us. Who
Howdy, same
does
place.
marketing
In my
for his
basement.
house in your basement, but sounding good on that microphone you got.
Better on the mic, yeah.
We are recording this.
And I must say,
Yeah.
You can't see Bob saying we're recording this. You can't see Randy. Your connection looks flawless now. We usually have an audio issues, but I can see you're crystal clear.
Looks good. Yeah.
You got the glasses
Oh,
on.
beautiful.
And if you want to see,
usually I can't.
If you want to see this, very simple. Go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That should be a redirect to the actual show, LouisvilleAnswers.com. If you want to ask us a question on the radio, we will pre-record your question for air. Go to 502-252-1890. That's 252-1890. Okay, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about in the half an hour that we've got. Let's start with Randy. Some interesting news. Let's start with interest rates because that seems to be on everyone's mind. Where are rates? Because we're hearing them go up.
Yes, rates are in the low threes on a 30-year fixed. FHA, they are getting in the twos, so it's been really nice.
So we heard that they popped up a little bit. Anything to do with that?
No, not really. They haven't moved up much. Again, the government's buying $4 billion a day in bonds.
So that's still
billion
going on. Okay.
A week. Yes, and things are very stabilized because of that.
We have some hard numbers to report, which I think is really important for anybody, whether you are buying or selling, considering either of the two, or just have a house and wondering how the market's doing. Application for loan purchases rose 5% last week from the previous week, 13% higher than a year ago, which goes hand in hand with what's been going on with COVID. I think that's important to point out. The unrest that we've had around the country and here in Louisville seems to have leveled off a bit, though there are still protests. Yeah.
Yes, and the last 9 weeks purchase applications were up. So you're right, Bob. It really dipped at the beginning of COVID, and the last 9 weeks purchase applications, the percentage is up, and then we come to now that they're 13% higher than this time last year.
The recovery in the purchase market continues to gain steam. So, Randy, we've talked about this, and in the past, it's been more refinancing because of lower rates than it was for purchase of a home, a new purchase of a home. But now in the past weeks, you're saying that's equaled out, and now you're seeing even more people making an application for a new purchase. Am I correct?
60% of all the purchases nationwide all the applications are refinances right now, and 40% are purchase applications. But again, we're up over 13% from this time last year, which is very encouraging.
Yep. So it's all good news. The low rates started last week, then they started to rise a little bit, but they've straightened out for the most part. Do you anticipate any increases? I know there's no way to really know. Does your guy Habib have any?
Well, Barry Habib again, and he's been spot on as usual. Now, COVID-19, he was a little off, and nobody could predict that. But no, he does not. He thinks within for the next foreseeable future, which is the next 9 months to a year, that rates should pretty much stay very low.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. And for people who are like Greg, who sold his house, we sold it in what, 2 days, Greg?
3 days. 3 days.
3 days.
Basically 2. Yeah, we had an offer coming through. Yeah.
You built a home in what was going to be Home-A-Rama, and then that got canceled.
That's
the most. I mean,
the
the in person, right?
Yeah, it's all going to be virtual, which is cool because we have an advantage on that too. It's something that we've always done on our team. It's something that we've kind of practiced. And now Home-A-Rama is adopting it, and all 9 homes will be. I'm sure that they'll have the walkthrough, and more importantly, all the vendors will get credit because it sucks more for them. We work directly with a lot of these vendors and these builders, and for them to put on these home shows and put all this effort into it, but everyone will still get to see the trends. That's the idea. So
when should people who are buying lock, Randy? I know there's no crystal ball on this, but certainly.
I think that, anytime inside 60 days right now, I mean, I think that's what I suggest my clients do, which is what Greg is
So we'll be talking tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. So just ask a question here. If one of our listeners locks in and the interest rate's 3.25 and rates drop to 3, is there a recast that you can do with it for them?
I can as a broker. Most of my competitors can't because they're a captive lender or they are a bank and they cannot do that. But yes, as a broker, I can blow a rate lock or renegotiate and move to another underwriter. Yes.
All right, let's move over for a little bit to Lee Harris, legal counsel over at Limestone. So Lee, are you seeing and the closing table now more refinances or more new loan application and closings come across on the closing table?
It was at the beginning of COVID. It was a lot of refinances.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
It just happened. Everything just kind of hit at that time. But now the purchases are just as strong as they usually have been. Maybe a little less, but not much. It's not a discernible difference.
Well, I think one of the reasons why, Lee, that you have, and I think you'll have you will talk different about this in about 6 weeks, is about 3 weeks the country kind of shut down at the beginning of COVID. I mean, really across the country, and it really backed up underwriting. So now you're starting to see a lot of things. There was a big bottleneck, but things are starting to clear out. So I think in the next 21 days, you're going to see giant purchase mark. I mean, it'll go crazy on closings.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think probably there'll be more inventory coming out there too. So obviously that'll help purchases as well. But yeah, there hasn't been a big difference from last year or for what we expect, every June.
My assistant.
Well,
hello. Listen, my assistant Susie had asked me this week she's feeling that refis are getting precedence over first-time mortgages. Is there any truth to that at all that you're hearing?
No.
Okay.
Purchases actually are getting a precedence over refinances, but the problem is it doesn't look like much of anything right now is because of, again, what happened for those 3 weeks. But I really sincerely mean this, Bob, and I think you told me that that most purchases are, 80 or 90% are getting extended right now. Mm-hmm. But I think that all cleans up in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Am I correct in that statement, or am I a little off?
Yeah, I mean, you would have to be blind to not see things reopening, jobs coming back online, furloughs coming off, and people going back to work. Maybe not an immediate return, but the people who were maybe unsure and underwriters were like, "You don't have, you're furloughed. We can't approve your loan." Now they can say, okay, now you've returned to history. Maybe some regulations will loosen up, and things are obviously the payment protection program. They lengthen the terms on that, so things are clearing up, I think. So I would back your statement absolutely, Randy.
Well, with you saying that, let's give you some information that the real estate is leading the economic recovery around the country, with the more U.S. states reopening for business this summer. And as people start to return to work, we're seeing the economy improving. Most experts are forecasting an indication that the economic recovery is going to start happening in the second half of this year. But here in Louisville, we're starting to see that happen already in several areas. Do you guys know Ivy Zellman of Zellman and Associates? Does that ring a bell? He says housing will fare better than expected during the severe downturn. CNBC is saying the mortgage demand from home buyers shows unexpectedly strong and quick recovery, and the quick recovery has not surpassed most forecasters. Apparently, there's a lot of positive energy behind this. Robert Dietz, he's Chief Economic and Senior Vice President for Economics and Housing Policy of the National Association of Home Builders, is saying that overall the data lends evidence to the NAHB forecast, that's the National Association of Home Builders forecast, that housing will be a leading sector in an eventual economic recovery.
So here's my quick prediction on that.
Yeah.
So I think I read an article, and Bob, you might be reading off the same article we saw this morning, but the hidden equity, not necessarily hidden, but the equity that people like me, the whole reason we're building a new house and selling is because we made so much equity in 3 years that it made sense with rates going the way they are. So I think a lot of people are in that same position where there's no inventory to go to. We're moving slower, like building, but that potential is there. We just need whatever is going to break it, whether it becomes cheaper to build and tariffs go away and things come back online and there's a boom in building, or people just start getting more confident and selling their homes and letting a good real estate agent guide them properly so they don't get, left in the dirt.
We're going to go into a little bit later on the benefits of home ownership for those of you who may be thinking, renting is getting old. Let's try to go to think about purchasing. But going back to, I muted you, Lee, because I was getting a lot of noise come from your phone there. If you can unmute yourself for some reason, I'm not able to unmute.
Okay, is that better?
Yep, much better.
Okay.
So with the regards to closings, standard 1 hour allocation, anything changed since we started COVID? Of course, many people have to stay in their car, or you had the tent where people were doing drive-throughs. Has any of that relaxed as of yet for buyers who are going towards closing?
Yes, we no longer have our tent, so that went by last week, and really, actually, the closings have been going fairly quickly. 45 minutes maybe. Maybe it's because there was a little less banter when people were in their cars and the kids were in the back or whatever. But yeah, everything. I mean, typically speaking, it's been an hour or under. So yeah, people are coming in a little more. We still do the car. We still do the home.
Yep.
Through the window, through the door thing, if people want to do that, or your office, your house, wherever you want to do it. If people are, feel more comfortable with that. So, yes.
We're gonna go back to. We're trying to slowly, folks, bring back our original format that we did for 5+ years. Of course, when COVID hit, we all of the team jumped on board for every show. But we're going back to somewhat of a staggered group coming on, so we have more time to talk with each individual. If, by the way, you want to see what sellers are saying about us, go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. That's LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. And by the way, if your house isn't selling or you're thinking about selling, you can go to LouisvilleHouseDoctors.com. That's LouisvilleHouseDoctors.com. There's a form there to fill out, and that'll get right to me. Guys, let's go to the phones and see what type of questions that have been. We've got a lot of them that have been holding up for the past number of months. So let's at least try and see what happens. Good morning. You're on News Radio 840 WHAS. Hello. Well, maybe not. I thought we were able to get through to that, but for some reason, oh wait, here we go. Stand by. Here we go. Sorry about that. Go right ahead.
I'm hearing the rates are really going down because of the interest rates are really going down because of the coronavirus. If I lock in on a mortgage rate and the rates go down, can I get the new rate? Hey, Bob.
No, that's interesting on that. Brandy, locking in, we were talking about that just a couple of seconds ago.
Yeah. Due to the fact that I'm a broker in these type of times, it really comes into play. I don't make as much money per file, and I have lower interest rates than a lot of banks and captive lenders. Because of that, I'm good with it. I mean, I could be a captive lender tomorrow if I wanted to be. But yeah, to answer your question is yes. With being a broker, I'm allowed to move that file to someone else if there's a drastic, and usually a quarter of a point is the threshold and when we move it before closing.
Can you do that once or more than one time?
Oh, I can do it literally in 8 times if I had to.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Interesting. So really then locking in sooner than later is right now the right thing to do, folks, if you're thinking about it. We're going to take
If you
a
had
break.
to do it twice, that means the market is insane.
We're going
Yes.
down. Yeah, it is. Let's face it, it is. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more. We'll talk about the benefits of home ownership, some of the things that you may or may not know when it comes time to owning a home. Here with us from their homes, and me in my office, and Randy at his lake house. Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, 645-0736. Lee Harris, Legal Counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow at 649-7964. My son, Greg, who does our marketing and photography and is an agent and does so much more. And you can reach me anytime, Bob Sokoler, at 376-5483. In fact, if you listen for a second, you'll hear Randy typing because he's working on inputting loans as we speak. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio.
Sorry, I won't type.
That's all right. News Radio 840 WHAS, the Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you, Bob Sokoler, for the next 10, 15 minutes or so, trying to help you make your way through the home ownership process. I got a lot of stuff going. By the way, next week we're going to have a story on 11 simple ways to make your house smell fresh. Let's face it, we've all been spending a lot of time inside. Maybe it's time to freshen it up with natural ways. We'll talk about that next Sunday. Here in our computer, because we're recording this for rebroadcast, you can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com to see it. We've got Lee Harris, Legal Counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow, 649-7964. Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, 645-0736. My son Greg, who does our marketing, our photography, and so much more. And, of course, me, Bob Sokoler, the Sokoler team over at RE/MAX Properties East. And you can reach me anytime at 376-5483. Incidentally, if you are thinking about selling your home, we have a free, no-obligation booklet that has hundreds of useful tips. If you want a copy, again, no obligation, free of charge, send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com, and put selling tips in the subject line. And you can also fill out a form if you go to LouisvilleHouseDoctors.com. We do make house calls, and we don't charge you any extra for doing that. That, I think, is important. We are trying to take phone calls in a limited situation since we're not, as if you listen to 84 WHAS, you know no one's really working out of the station. Everybody's working from home. So we're doing the best we can to try to get things done in a timely, orderly fashion. We're going to go back to the phone, see how we can help. Good morning, Bob Sokoler, Louisville Real Estate Show, News Radio 840 WHAS. Hello.
Hi, Bob. This is Amy. If I buy a home with the coronavirus out there, how could I be sure it will close? Has the coronavirus caused any problems getting homes closed?
Lee, that is right up your alley, and it has, hasn't it?
There have been issues. Mostly that is with, particularly if a buyer has lost, didn't realize when they put a contract on the property that they might get furloughed or they might lose their income. And so that has sometimes caused, the buyer to not be able to purchase. Sometimes it's been the seller that has had that problem because, the seller says, oh, I want to move. And then next thing they know, they've lost their home. So they can't purchase. For the most part, it's been pretty smooth, really much smoother than anybody dreamed it would be. I think we all thought everything would shut down to nothing, and it never did happen. And it's really going well now, especially in June. And May was also very strong. So, yeah, there has been some things where, they don't find out until the last minute that they can't get financed because of the virus. But as long as that doesn't happen, or as long as you can get back to work and get the number of payments under your belt, the number of paychecks under your belt, rather that your lender needs, you can probably get back in line for a purchase.
I should point out that there are a lot of buyers who are upset and a lot of sellers who are upset with what's happened with COVID-19. This is not the fault of anybody other than COVID-19 and putting in these new restrictions. I can tell you we're working with a couple of sellers, and I'm sure a lot of agents who are listening to us right now will identify and probably have the same problem where as a seller agent, we were told by the buyer and the buyer's bank that they were good to go, and we had a pre-approval letter, but then COVID hit, and then things slowed down, because Randy will tell you that in not only his operation, but other mortgage companies around the area and the country, that they put in layers which would require that the day of closing, for example, Randy, explain what that does. The day of closing, an underwriter has to reach out to the buyer's company that he works for or she works for to confirm that this.
Yes, and that's usually pretty common, or the day prior. But the difference is getting a hold of the HR director. You know, it was challenging. And the second thing, to kind of piggyback what Lee said, is right during the middle of doing something with someone, companies come up with overlays or they run out of money. There's been a lot of lenders that have done that, quite a few. And restrictions get put on. The great thing is we've been able to navigate those waters because we go to someone else who will close a loan, where a lot of scenarios have it where then, you know, they're just sitting there and they got to totally change companies. So that's happened quite a bit. It's coming back. But
I can attest to that, because back in the beginning of March, before COVID officially hit, I had taken a trip up to Detroit to visit with one of the investing companies, UWM,
United Wholesale
Mortgage. And I was blown away by their operation. Very streamlined. They had their act together. But they're just one of a number of people who are working with Randy and Swan Financial to make sure that the mortgages go smoothly. So I was impressed with that. I think Greg is on the other side of this. And where I was going to go with this, folks, just FYI, let me just finish this, the thought. And that is, if your closing has been delayed, it is not the fault of your agent. And it's not the fault of the buyer. It is the fault of COVID-19. And that's put a lot of stress on a lot of people. So please do not blame your agent if there are delays or things fall apart. I can speak on behalf of all agents throughout not only Louisville, Southern Indiana, and the rest of the country. We are all doing the very best that we can, because this is all new to us, and we're just trying to navigate the waters to make sure that as a seller, you're happy, and buyers, you're happy as well. Greg got thrown a monkey wrench, because you maybe, if you follow the show, he had a house he's selling, and then he was buying also and building in Norton Commons, and his house was going to be in the home show, which was coming up in July, right, Greg? Yeah. And then you got the word what?
Then the BIA, they kept having meetings, and they decided, you know, it's not they can't do it safe enough, and it's not cost prohibitive to bring everybody out. But at the end of the day, they're still going to do a virtual tour and have everything set up so that people can come through, and hopefully they'll still be able to have contests for the vendors and everybody who was involved to help them promote them. But I mean, thankfully for anybody who's involved in us, we've already made it, because we do all of our marketing, and of course I do all of our marketing, and we're going to make sure that we for them put out good word, and their personal vendors, for anybody who works with us, would recommend them. But you may have heard it's weird. You know, we were nervous too when COVID hit, when everything was happening. All of a sudden we've got all this money invested in a new house where we're getting ready to list. When do we list? When do we jump back in the market? But we listen to the numbers, the raw data that you reported. I've obviously listened to my father, because he knows what he's doing, and not to plug him, but you know, we went off of training, and we saw the market coming back on. We watched the numbers, and we were able to get in this market. As you can hear from us, it's hot. And the inventory is an issue. And so you're having higher price point homes move in certain areas. And you're having certainly the other price point lower, anywhere between 100 to, 400 is you can't keep them up. You can't keep them up, because if it's a good, clean house and you do what you said, it's crazy.
So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of home ownership, things that you may already know, and some things you may not even thought of. And for those of you who are renters, this may be a reason to jump off of the fence. Even though inventories are low, we've been very busy. Greg, how many homes did we put on in the past week and a half on the market?
I did 9 listings in 5 days. It was a trying 5 days, but it was good.
They're selling. I would tell you, a week ago, We put a home on the market on a Friday, we sold it the next day. We put a home on the market on a Saturday, we sold it the next day. We would have sold another one that we'd put on, but the sellers are very slow to approve showings, which is a real problem. If you are putting your home on the market, you need to show your home, otherwise we can't sell it. That's a problem. But anyway, so just letting you know, the cycle is incredible. So you may want to jump off the fence. First of all, the non-financial benefits of owning a home, folks. And Randy, Lee, Greg, feel free to jump in anywhere. Pride of ownership. There's nothing that feels better if you can show off your home to friends and family, people driving by, and it looks spectacular. It's magnificent. Property maintenance and improvement. And let's face it, your home is your stake in the community, and you have a way of giving back by driving value into your neighborhood and keeping the beauty of your home up. The civic participation. Home ownership creates stability, a sense of community. It increases civic engagement, and so much we need now, our engagement understanding. It's a way to add to the strength of our local area. Now, that's just the non-financial benefits. In the financial benefits category, it's your net worth. Home ownership builds your family's net worth. The median family net worth for all homeowners is $231,400. That increased by nearly 15% since 2013, while net worth, $5,000 annually, declined by approximately 9% since 2013 for renting families. So there's a real strong reason to make a purchase and get involved. Also, financial security, equity, appreciation, and predictable monthly housing expenses are huge financial benefits of home ownership. And home ownership is truly the best way to improve your long-term net worth. There's just no other way to do it.
I think a lot of it's motivation. I mean, Bob, I've come a long way in, in 6 or 7 years since I moved back here. And when I first rented, we weren't there. I like to plant, but it was somebody else's property. And then the first home that I ended up buying with my wife, I was motivated. It pushed me in the right direction. It kept me, wanting to maintain and it lit a fire under my butt. And so that all beneficial from just owning a home, so self-inflicted, so to speak.
Yeah, but you've learned, as a lot of people do. Yeah. And many will tell you if they learn late in life, it was too late. They should have done a lot earlier. And then we talked about non-financial, we talked about financial, and now there are economic benefits. Housing-related spending, an economic force throughout our nation. Housing-related expenses accounted for more than 1/6 of the country's economic activity over the past 3 decades. That's why we say, as the housing market goes, so will the rest of the economy. Yeah. We agree on that, Lee?
No kidding.
And Randy, we're all agreeing on this, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's why they're throwing $4 billion a day into the bonds. The government is. They know they have to have the housing, has to be shored up.
The GDP, the growth, the home ownership also helps drive GDP growth as the country aims to make an economic rebound, and every 10% increase in total housing market wealth would translate to about $147 billion in additional consumer spending. That's pretty good. And then there's entrepreneurship. The homeowner is an even form of forced savings that provides entrepreneurial opportunities as well. You own a home. It enables new entrepreneurs to obtain access to credit to start or expand a business by using the home as collateral, if that's what you want, generating new jobs, and using the home as collateral for the small business loans. So there's so much that goes into owning a home. All you need to do is, if you're renting, make that first step and give a call. And any one of the agents around Louisville or Southern Indiana will help you at any time. Of course, we'd love to help you. We've got 20 agents out there. We are, and I'd be loving to hear from you to help you list your home. I know I get a call every day from people who listen to this show, and I thank you so much. Again, if you want to reach out to me, my direct number is 376-5483. If you're looking for a loan, you could not find a better place than Swan Financial and talking to Randy Rocky at 645-0736. And Lee Harris over at Limestone Title. She's legal counsel. She knows our stuff. She is the person we go to when we as agents have questions, and we do it every day. And let me tell you, our phone's constantly busy, and she helps us all. We thank you, Lee, for always.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
On behalf of all of us as agents throughout the area, you can reach Lee at 649-7964. We are out of time. I hope you have a safe weekend, and we will all see you back here, right here on News Radio 840 WHAS. All right, guys, so that takes care of another Sunday show for those of you who are watching. We just wrapped it up.
Banter.
That's our post-show banter. This was a tough one because I was trying to work out the format where we were throwing in some questions, which
Trying to get back into it.
It's different for sure. I'm gonna try to streamline that out. Think of if there are any other better ways to do it. It's there, but did it help us in the long run? Does anybody have any thoughts? Having the questions or no?
Oh, I think so.
I like
Yes,
it.
I like it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I like having the questions. I think we could do more questions.
Yes,
I think you could go back.
I like.
Yeah.
We can do it. We can push them back in. I just don't
Randy, are those the Blu-ray blocking sunglasses or glasses?
These are the gunner glasses, the ones they use for when the people that play the video games nationwide. And
Yeah.
And I could see so much better when I'm looking at a computer screen with them on.
Yeah,
Randy,
I had
a visitor there. You didn't introduce us. Randy,
I had my bug guy come in, and my wife was with him, and they were running around here spraying for bugs. So
yeah, we saw somebody walking around the back. I was going to say,
I said hello, and he tried to duck behind your head.
I was wondering.
So
there's a lot of critters out here, man. I mean, you're out here, you're in their world, so you gotta.
Where's you said you're on Cumberland. Where in Cumberland?
No, I'm on Barron.
You're on Barron. Okay, I thought you were on Cumberland for some reason.
Yeah. It's wonderful. I love it. Paradise.
I just on a side, I had my house this past week was getting hot, right? So, and over the past 6 months, when it got really hot outside, my air conditioning outside unit would make a grinding noise. And what really annoys me is I had an HVAC guy come out and said, "Well, what do you think?" He says, "I don't hear anything." I said, "But I'm hearing intermittently. I don't hear anything." So this past week, I had another guy come out through my warranty company, and the guy goes, "Well, I'll tell you what, it's probably something that may be going, but I would say let's check to see how dirty your condenser is." And he takes off the thing around it, and sure enough, it was filled with dirt and debris, which the guys 6 months ago never looked.
He never took it off.
Never took it off to clean.
He just came out and
to collect $100 and so be alerted. And so he charged it. It needed Freon, which this other guy didn't. I don't think he even checked, which really annoyed me. The fact that I'm thinking back to this other guy, and I needed 7 pounds of Freon. And now it's freezing in my house. I got to keep an eye on my temperature, which is good. I got the nest setback, so that works out real well. Yeah. So that's the story. All right, guys, great job, good stuff. I will talk to you down the road, Randy. I'll see you next week. Greg, I'll see you next week, and then Kevin will be in, or Kelly, one or the other, and Lee will see you in a couple of weeks. We'll talk to you.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
guys.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Love y'all.